We're not gonna watch the whole video. I just want you to get like an introductory of Wim Hof. He's got a lot of. He's a good guy. Oh, this guy got these techniques, breathing techniques, and cold exposure techniques and exercises that he does. And he claims that he can activate. He claims he can activate his immune system.
You could say that. I think of the cold as a noble force.
Dude can hold his breath for like 10 minutes underwater, cold as ice water.
Nature the way it was meant to be. And that's the way I do not only endure the cold, I love the cold.
The breathing that he does is it's a type of exercise that allows him to like alkaline his body, and I can't explain it.
False healers and fake alternative medicine programs you can sign up for. It's a rare moment in history when someone comes along who can perform real miracles with real evidence to back them up. Wim Hof has defied logic time and time again, and always under scientific scrutiny. He holds the world record for being able to be submerged in ice for almost 2 hours without his core body temperature changing. He's climbed Mount Everest in nothing but a pair of shorts and ran a marathon in the desert without drinking any water. He's even proven in a laboratory setting that he can withstand illnesses using the power of his mind.
What's my point?
But he's not a freak of nature. According to Wim, anyone can do what he can do. They just have to learn his method, the Wim Hof method. Using a combination of cold immersion, breathing techniques, and mental focus, anyone can accomplish feats that were previously thought to be impossible.
It's true.
Kunnen wij dat ook wat u kunt? Ja, en ik ben nu in staat om op kamertemperatuur mensen, gewoon normale mensen, middels...
And he did. He trained a bunch of people to get over some... I want to say like it was E. coli or something. They fucking stuck him with something.
His method and see just how easy it is to become superhuman.
I would sit here and watch the whole thing, but I don't think it'll load. I think after 15 minutes, my YouTube is like, nope, you don't pay for that shit. But I don't get paid for this shit either.
We first met
I don't do this for money. I just do it to
began to teach our whole crew the basics of cold
show y'all what I see.
Growing up in the 21st century, we're naturally skeptical of everything we read on the internet.
I just want to help spread, news like this. We're not fucked.
Suspend our disbelief because no true miracle
We just gotta know what to do
without some faith. In this case, the miracle would supposedly involve the crew and I taking off our clothes and climbing to the top of the freezing cold Mount Śnieżka in Poland. But before that, our training began in the canals of Amsterdam.
So while I'm climbing the mountain, if they haven't done the training, then they'll be screwed, basically.
Yes, and the film too.
Yeah.
We are going to start with the breathing, and you will see feeling is understanding. And later on we can dig in all kinds of scientific literature and readings and comparisons and statistics and all that. We don't need it. You are going to feel it. We are pioneers. And by fully in. Okay, just go on. No thinking, just feel. Your head is becoming lightheaded.
Wim was going to teach us how to endure the cold like him. But first, we had to learn the basics. Wim told us to spend 1 minute breathing in more air than we let out. Then he instructed us to take one last breath and hold it. By using his technique, we were able to hold our breath for much longer than usual. I didn't really know what was going on, but my body was doing things it had never done before, and I was pretty freaked out. but also very curious. I
That
should
last
learn
breath
to
you
breathe.
take, you
It
exhale.
was like I was going through some kind of second
You're
puberty,
holding no
where
air,
instead of becoming an
almost no
adult,
air in your
I was
lungs.
becoming a superhuman.
First round 217 for
You see, he
Matt.
exhales. He goes,
Crazy, yeah?
Whoa.
It's up, yeah?
for
You're
like
still?
a couple
I just
minutes.
stopped because I wanted to
No
listen,
air.
but I was still
Good.
good.
My whole body was just kind of like tingling, and then when you said to stop breathing, it just didn't seem like I had the need to breathe at all. It's really amazing. Who are you? Who are you?
I mean, we ain't gotta go all day
And I
into
can't
this guy.
argue with the results. You've done things that no one's ever done before. But there have been hundreds of people throughout history in the past 4,000.
I mean, we ain't gotta get too involved. In a little 3 minutes. You can download it.
Hi, I'm Wim Hof.
Wim Hof method on your phone for
the way
free.
they call me.
You can pay $50 a year. I used to do that.
The records I
Just to
did,
see all the
Hamidi,
exercises.
Mount Everest,
But you don't have to do
all
that.
in shorts and hanging by
can
one
get the
finger
free
in the winter
app.
time at 1.5 kilometer. All kinds of challenges. Challenges because I investigate into life. I want to get everything out of life, and I did. I found out we can do a lot more than we think. And now I have come up with a natural method, the Wim Hof method, and then scientifically endorsed, showing that we are able to go deeply within the autonomic nervous system related to the immune system, could be a way to prevent from disease or to influence much more by share
The disease starts
of
in your stomach, by the way.
you into your own physiology much deeper than as thought possible, even scientifically. So I showed myself to be able to do that in a hospital, in a laboratory setting, in an environment controlled by doctors and professors, and it works. It works deeply within. And now,
Did he really? Did he really prove it? I know that's what you want to know. I think he's got the animated one somewhere. Hold on. There we go. That way.
If you take
Whatever.
the bits of a dead bacteria
E. coli.
and introduce
That
them
was
into
right.
someone's body,
It was E.
in all
coli.
likelihood the person's immune system is going to flare as if it's under attack. As harmless as dead bacteria might sound, the body will still react as if it's being invaded. These dead bits are also known as endotoxin and are a major red flag for the immune system. When your immune system does find endotoxin in the body, it will trigger the release of different proteins and physiological changes.
I'm just saying, you don't need to
The person
take
feels
drugs.
Sick. Symptoms such as fever, nausea, headache, shivering are caused by your immune system gearing up to fight off infections.
There are all kinds of
This is
natural
known as
things
the
we
innate
can do
immune
for
response.
ourselves.
It's fantastic. You can take any person, inject them with endotoxin, and watch them feel terrible for a short while. And that's what scientists at Radboud University did, with over 100 people, mapping out a predictable innate immune response.
And probably
Now,
add
let's
out
believe
their
that we
scientific study,
voluntarily
$50
influence
bucks.
the innate immune
Bunch of
response.
crackheads.
But that's exactly what happened when scientists at Radboud injected Wim Hof with endotoxin. Using the breathing method he developed, he was able to dampen the immune response to the endotoxin's presence by flooding himself with adrenaline
Dragon's
and stimulating the release of a key messaging protein, interleukin-10. This was achieved through voluntarily influencing the autonomic nervous system.
It's like
The same
Dragon's Breath.
system that beats
Not
your heart,
exactly.
remembers to breathe for you, and prepares you to fight or fly in the face of danger. A system that, for all intents and purposes, should not be controllable, because if we did have control of this system, we might forget to breathe or beat our hearts because we were thinking about cake. Yet, this is exactly what happened in the case of Wim Hof, voluntarily flooding his body with adrenaline, deliberate influence over his autonomic nervous system. So, what should be done? The possibility is that Wim Hof had different genetics from the average person, giving him the unique ability to withstand the endotoxin.
maybe.
So a larger test was needed, with more participants, performing the same techniques designed by Hof. 30 healthy male volunteers were gathered, 18 of whom would be trained by Wim Hof, and the other 12 the control to the larger endotoxin experiment. The 18 volunteers went to Poland to train in a mixture of meditation, cold exposure, and the breathing technique over 4 days, and would enjoy a gauntlet of swimming in freezing cold water, standing in line
4
in the
days.
snow, and for the ultimate test,
Not
Climb a
4
mountain
months,
at the
4 days.
elevation of 1,590 meters with wind chills of minus 27 degrees Celsius, all done in shorts. Very nice shorts, too.
4 days.
The kind you wear at the beach. Those who weren't trained, the control group, were injected with endotoxin. They exhibited the typical symptoms and reactions of the innate immune response. Not a fun thing to experience, granted, but we suffer for science here, and yeah, they suffered.
Yeah,
During the
several
experiment,
sites.
a lot of information was kept track of. This included the composition of the blood, cytokines, catecholamines, white blood cell count, and various physiological changes such as heart rate and temperature. This group did not commit to any breathing techniques, simply passively enduring the endotoxemia. The trained group, on the other hand, did commit to the breathing techniques during the first 2.5 hours of the 8-hour experimentation, and in the end were successful in dampening their innate immune response. But what happened? Well, let's walk through this. There were lots of fun bits of information collected, and I'll try to condense the more interesting parts. Firstly, most clearly, the trained group had a lot more adrenaline from the very start of the experiment due to the breathing, as compared to the control. This burst of adrenaline from the very start correlates nicely with the production of interleukin-10, an anti-inflammatory cytokine, or cell messaging protein. Here's the control for comparison. It's a little flatter. The anti-inflammatory element of interleukin-10 is that it inhibits the release of other cytokines that contribute towards inflammation and mediation of the innate immune response. As a result, the trained group had a less pronounced release of these inflammatory proteins compared to the control, had less acute symptoms, and recovered faster. Here were the cytokines kept track of in the control. Here they were in the trained group. Notice the difference in release. Far fewer in the trained group because of interleukin-10. Now, even though the inflammatory response was suppressed, white blood cells were not. Having adrenaline in the system actually stirred leukocytosis, an increase of white blood cells in the blood. Here's a graph showing the control's white blood cell count over the 8-hour experiment, as compared to the trained volunteers. Some of the categories of different white blood cells were also measured, but the experiment was limited in that not all subtypes were counted. So, stirred from adrenaline, it appears as though the immune system was still humming and working in the background, despite a dampened inflammation response. Being able to dampen inflammation is also wonderful news on its own. It implies an interesting alternative to those who suffer from excessive or persistent inflammation, especially when considering autoimmune diseases. The study of which this animation is based off is a precursor to more investigation. It had a small sample size, but the results were
probably
astonishing.
help
The influence
think
over
that's
the
what he's trying
autonomic
to
nervous
say.
system was probably the most striking part that even Peter Pickers, one of the scientists who orchestrated the study, expressed his surprise.
Onze belangrijkste conclusie, dat we nu voor het eerst heel duidelijk en onomstotelijk feitelijk hebben aangetoond dat een mens dus wel in staat is om zijn autonome zenuwstelsel en zijn immuunrespons op een vrijwillige manier te beïnvloeden. En dat was echt iets wat in de tekstboeken staat, dat kan niet.
If there's one thing this tells us, is that there are deeper layers of our bodies that we can consciously explore, a potential we should study, a potential within our biology, and it's all there in front of us. So, let's have fun exploring.
That's all I'm trying to say. Let's have fun exploring, you know? Let's just see if we can get better on our own without having to pay millions of dollars, and let's learn all these secret stuff that they don't want us to fucking know about. Fuck them.